There's actually going to be an emergency maintenance for a lot more Forked Tower Occult Crescent changes than what we heard in the live letter. This is actually a lot of this is completely new and novel, and they're going to be doing emergency maintenance. And so let's go over all of the details of what we can expect here. So it is titled Regarding Advanced Changes to the Fork Tower Entry System. Hello, this is Naoki Yoshida, producer and director of Final Fantasy XIV. Firstly, I would like to thank the community for their supportive comments following the recent letter from the producer live. And that's really true. I mean, even if some people may think it's hate comments, a lot of us are just worried about the game because, like, that cost comment and, like, everything, like, we really do care and love the game, and I hope that he can see that. He continued saying, during the broadcast, I spoke about the additional systems we will be introducing in relation to the Fork Tower. We have since decided to implement a portion of these updates in advance during an emergency maintenance on all worlds. Please allow me to summarize the details and explain our reasoning behind this decision. I'm just going to zip to the bottom of the page, and we can see that they're planning for that emergency maintenance to be at Thursday, July 3rd, or as soon as possible thereafter. So this is actually, I think the only other time we've had this was, I think, for maid outfits 10 years ago was when we had something with such expedience and urgency. And so this is actually a pretty substantial deviation, which for me, I think is a positive. I think that this is actually a great thing, but I'll talk about that after. So the planned changes. The following changes will be introduced as a part of the emergency maintenance. 1. The ability to enter Cult Crescent instance with a preformed alliance of up to 48 players. 2. Allowing Auroral Mirages to generate sooner after the Cult Crescent instance has been loaded. Intentions behind the changes. As stated during the producer live letter, the update required to improve the Fork Tower experience would comprise several key elements. First of all, the ability to enter a Cult Crescent instance with a preformed alliance of up to 48 players. 2. Allowing Auroral Mirages to generate sooner after the Cult Crescent instance is loaded. 3. Improvements to the Cipher offering user interface. 4. Delaying Auroral Mirage generations until an active critical encounter has ended. And further down the line, after additional deliberation and discussion, we plan on further expanding the system with updates such as 5. Enabling exclusive access to the Cult Crescent instance for set time when joining with a preformed alliance. This is, as they say, not something that we heard during the live letter, and this actually is very relevant. This is actually very, very, very relevant. Like, this kind of changes, like, my entire take on it. I think that this is fantastic news, but I'll talk more after. They say, we believe these combined changes will function in unison to improve the Fork Tower experience. However, given the outsized impact of one, even in isolation, we have chosen to prioritize its implementation. Furthermore, to alleviate the issues of players waiting for prolonged periods to access Fork Tower due to the time taken for an Auroral Mirage to generate after a Cult Crescent instance has loaded, we will be implementing 2 in advance. And so that would be the point 1 and the point 2 from there. Oop, my screen just broke. Sorry, I threw this setup together so quick. 1 second. I'm so sorry, guys. And then they said the remaining changes listed above will be implemented in patch 7.3 as previously discussed, along with... I'm so sorry, my setup. The remaining changes listed above will be implemented in patch 7.3 as previously discussed, along with other minor adjustments and updates. Please accept my apologies for the delay. And now they're going into a section because this is very new for this. This is not something we usually see in 14. And then they said risks associated with early implementation. At present, fundamental implementation for patch 7.3 is complete, and we have entered the adjustment and refinement phase for graphical elements, systems, and battle mechanics. In parallel, we are proceeding with a large-scale QA in preparation for release. To avoid significant impact on the schedule, we have initially planned to implement changes 1 and 2 in patch 7.3. Oh, no, they had initially. That's the keyword. They had initially. However, when evaluating our development and QA capacity to release the potential emergency maintenance update, it became apparent we would be able to do so with minimal effect to our schedule. Rest assured that there will be no impact on the release of patch 7.3 as a result of this advanced update. They said it should be noted that the planned emergency maintenance may introduce some technical issues. However, we determined that the benefits of implementing these changes in a timely manner outweigh the minor risks involved, and We'll do our utmost to ensure that the update is released in a stable state. The current release schedule for the update is as follows: Thursday, July 3rd, 2025, or as soon as possible thereafter. Although we are aiming for July 3rd release, this may be pushed back should additional testing be required to ensure stability. Once the schedule has been confirmed, we will make a separate announcement via the lodestone. We ask for your patience while we work on these improvements, and thank you for your continued support. So, okay, my thoughts, and I have my timer there, so I'm going to try and make sure that this is under 8 minutes. Okay, so my thoughts are, these are basically the changes that we asked for. Like, let's look at these 5 points. These are basically what we really needed in order to make sure that this content was, like, easy to get into. And even I have been screwed out of this content. Like, if you look at my tombstone.gg or whatever my profile is, like, you can see I don't have a fork tower clear, which is actually really disappointing given that I kind of ass rushed the content. And so seeing all of these points combined together is actually really, really good. Like, seeing the ability to enter the cult crescents is good. That's what they said during the live letter. And then the weather starting sooner. I don't like the cipher system because it still allows portal snipers. I also like the delay after a critical encounter has ended. But the real big thing that really screws the portal snipers out of ruining your instance is exclusive access to Cult Crescent. And so I can say all of this is a massive, massive, massive difference. Because it's just like, probably my own biggest grievance was literally those portal sniping little shits. Because you know they're going to do it. You know that they're going to have more than the minimum number of keys. And so seeing this is actually incredibly good news. So my other thing is, we don't usually see an update like this. Not in any major significant way like this. Like, their whole risks associated with early implementation section is actually pretty radical. Because we don't usually get changes like this. God dang it, my window. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm trying so many new technologies right now in here. But we don't usually see anything like this with an update where they're doing it so quickly. And of course I could start talking about my own experience as a software developer, and that I've been at like FDA regulated medical device companies where they have to follow a waterfall model, and then you submit things for verification, validation, and other things with the FDA. But I've also worked at companies that are more agile, and these are just software development processes. I mean, there's different names that you could use, but generally waterfall and agile are universally accepted. And so now, you could say right now what I'm doing with this current setup is more of a agile method, but I really think that this is interesting to see, because Yoshi P did mention about like trust with the player base and all that earlier in the live letter, and to see something like this, which is a radical deviation from how things have been done, is actually really, really fascinating to me. This is actually one of the more positive things, and people will be like, oh, you're just positive about Fork Tower. No, this goes way beyond Fork Tower, and in fact, I think that it deserves its own video. I'm not going to bloat this one any further, so you guys take care, and I hope that this video excites you. I'm actually so excited about getting this news. Like, this is so good. But, the window died again. I'm gonna have to spend some time debugging. But, yeah, you guys take care, and so sorry about the technical issues. I don't know how to even describe it. I have, like, 10 different windows that are virtually displaying, that are piped through multiple layers of programs. And they're fighting. The children are fighting!